Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Elder Care's training series, Elder Care Academy. I am Adrienne Ostras,
I'm Amy Bostick.
and we are super excited about today's topic. We want to encourage agents, more of our Medicare agents, specifically to get into the annuity space, and then also just spread the word that elder care is in the annuity space. But we are going to talk specifically about a certain tool that we offer our agents to help them get into this part of the business.
Yeah.
We like our agents to, what is it, life, health, and wealth. We want you to have that wealth in there as well. And just a little housekeeping things. We do disable the chat during the Zoom, but you can find the Q&A box. That's how you can communicate with us. So find the Q&A box. Let's see, Julian's on, Kenneth, Neil. We got Rayvon on here. Put in the Q&A box, have you ever sold annuities? Are you really interested in getting into annuities? Let us know kind of where you're feeling with that word annuity. And then if you're watching on Facebook Live, just put it in the comment box and we will get those answered. But without further ado, I'd love to introduce our special guest, Zach, with one of our integrity partners, Brokers International. Good morning, Zach.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. And I really wanted to get you on to talk LARC. I know we've done this training last year, right? We released this tool to our agents last year, but we've recently added this kind of button to the agent portal for them to easily get to the LARC system. So we kind of wanted to do another training to make sure everyone knew what that was.
Yeah, of course. I do think one of the biggest challenges here agents face, is just getting into the life and annuity space and kind of even knowing where to begin, right? So I think LARC is a good place to start, especially for the newer agent. So
yes, I'm just gonna say the ask a specialist is my favorite part. So y'all just make sure y'all pay attention to when he gets to that. But you should be
yeah,
good to share your screen
I
whenever you're
will.
ready.
Yeah, I will get started here. Let me just share
And maybe
here.
we can start with, do you know what LARC stands for?
What does it stand for?
What does LARC stand for?
Are you asking me?
I mean, I know the answer, but yes, I'm asking you
Yeah.
so you
So
can say it.
yeah, no. Can you guys see that first screen there?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So yeah, so LARC, right? It stands for Life and Annuity Resource Center. And again, it's kind of your agency, right? So Elder Care branded Life and Annuity Resource Center. It like Adrian said, kind of built in partnership with Brokers International. And what essentially it does is it serves as that complete training ecosystem, right? For annuities and life insurance. There's kind of four, I guess, topics or goals that we try to get out of it. We want to improve that agent education. We want to increase the ease of annuity adoption, right? Elevate the quality of those client recommendations that you guys are offering. And then at the end of the day, we really want to build your sales confidence and build that consistency. And so those are kind of the reasons why LARC was developed and why we're actively promoting it. We have a handful of groups that use it as well, and we're seeing quite a bit of success with it. So when it goes to the that confidence, the consistency, we want you to have that confidence with FIAs, right? I think it's important that that agents are compliant and they're truly confident in what they're trying to sell. I think both these two things kind of bolster each other as well. So we start, we want to give you kind of that foundation, right, of what a fixed index annuity can do. And essentially, these three benefits are what fixed index annuities do best, right? So, we're going to eliminate that market loss. You can never lose money in the market. Your floor is zero, and what we like to say is essentially zero is your hero. It allows you to participate in those market gains still. So when the index does go up, you participate in that gain. And then when the index goes down again, your value's locked in, being zero, is your hero. And then that third one there, we want to create that guaranteed lifetime income. Annuities can provide what we call lifetime income, and again, gives you that kind of that reassurance once you do retire that there's going to be that income coming in. So those are kind of the three main benefits of the essentials to what an FIA is. We want you again to be confident and to be able to go out there and sell an FIA. So we've tried to create a very easy, streamlined process where agents can feel confident, right, when presenting. And I think that's kind of where you'll find that LARC fits into. So I don't know. Again, this is the landing page, right? So Elder Care has their own link. We've developed their own landing page, right, for the Life and Annuity Resource Center. And again, it's just a platform that many of our agencies use that functions as an education training spot, support, and then a resource hub as well for all you agents that are selling life and annuity products. It's a software that is basically made available to you, licensed and contracted professionals. We want you to be able to go to a place where you can educate yourself on that marketplace as well. And I think today too, I'm going to try to focus on kind of that value add that the LARC system can provide, and how it's being used by insurance professionals as a guide to kind of assist in helping them through that client meeting and that client process, right? Just to kind of help understand planning goals and needs when you're actually sitting down with a client, right? So when you go to the first link, you're going to see, this is what you're going to see as the home page. There's a handful of different tabs, and I will try to touch base on most of them on here.
Yeah, and we do have quite a few questions popping up right now asking, where is this link? And so I just kind of want to let everyone know that when you log into the Elder Care Broker portal, it's right there on the main dashboard. It says LARC, bright and blue. That's where you can find the direct link to this, what he is looking at right now.
Yep. And we've made it super easy for you guys to kind of get out there and access it as well. So one thing I want to hit on too, again, one of those tabs there is the annuity training. So what we've done is established on-demand training videos, right? So LARC includes very detailed training videos that teach annuity concepts. They teach life insurance basics. There's some sales strategy videos out there. And then there's some videos as well as on product positioning and then maybe objection handling, right? We have things titled out there anywhere between what is an annuity to what exactly is a fixed index annuity. There's videos on there that talk about guaranteed lifetime income. And I think in total right now, there's 12 different training videos out there for agents to go out and maybe just learn a little bit more about, like I said, what an FIA is, or maybe you ran into an objection and you need some guidance on how to potentially handle that objection. There's videos out there for all of that. I know the screen is kind of small and the writing's pretty small there. But the videos are labeled under each video. It kind of tells you what they are. So I think it's a good starting point, a good way to kick off, especially if you're, like I said, very green to this space. This is a good resource to use to kind of get your feet wet and kind of begin to understand what an FIA is. The next one, and probably the most important one I would say on here, that we like to use, we like to promote, would be this financial inventory tab. The training extends, I think, just beyond those agent training videos, right? So we include tools to teach agents how to engage with clients properly, right? And I think that's where this financial inventory form comes in. It's available to kind of guide the agents through structured data collection. We've designed it in a way to help you kind of walk through that client appointment with a professional process. The guide that you use is kind of a step-by-step. And what you do is gather all of the client's financial picture, right? Your assets, your income, their retirement accounts. Maybe they have existing insurance that maybe you wouldn't have thought to ask. And then from there, you can kind of identify their real needs, or maybe they have some gaps in their retirement income, or maybe there's some objectives there too that they're trying to hit. Really, at the end of the day, it just isn't about paperwork, right? We want it to be a teaching tool. And I think by using this tool consistently, you learn exactly how to run kind of a complete appointment, I guess you could call it, from basically that discovery phase all the way over to that final recommendation. And I'll get into this in a little bit too. As you can see, there's an Ask a Specialist button there. But when you request help through that Ask a Specialist, this financial inventory gives our team everything they need to help support you with that product guidance and potential illustrations down the road as well. So when you click that financial inventory form, again, within this LARC platform, all it is just a structured data gathering tool, right? So you can see from here just a quick snippet: name, spouse, date of birth, height and weight, little things like that can help us complete kind of a financial picture so we can make informed and suitable life and annuity recommendations. The big thing here from a life and annuity standpoint, would be date of birth. From a life standpoint, height and weight, things like that, is a necessity when we're trying to, determine the best product to maybe recommend. It just gives you a place to collect that basic information from your client, right? So at the end of the day, this information as well is going to be needed for an application too. So I think it's just great to have it all in one place, whether it's for your own files or for the application. Moving on here to kind of the next section of this form, we do have a little section built out in case there's any sort of long-term care insurance, right? Maybe they don't have any long-term care insurance, and we want to maybe discover their level of concern regarding long-term care. Well, this is a good place where we can do that, right? Maybe they don't have any long-term care at all, and maybe in the discovery phase, that's something that is established, and maybe it's something that they're concerned about, right? Well, I think that can help you cater that conversation to maybe a long-term care hybrid type product that can also be used as an annuity product. And that stuff that we can get into the weeds a little bit later, because some of that stuff is a little confusing from a product standpoint, and I would be happy to share maybe on another webinar too of some long-term care type hybrid products that we use out there. But essentially, this is just a conversation starter as well, to get the client thinking about long-term care insurance if maybe they don't have any.
Yeah, and agents, if you're interested in knowing what products those are, just put it in the Q&A and we'll send them to you.
Yeah, yep. We have a handful of products that are designed for long-term care. There are annuity products with long-term care riders is how right. The compliant way to say, I guess. So, and then we also have a section on here as well for life insurance, right? And in this life insurance section, the financial professional or the agent, is where you can kind of gather that potential information on existing life insurance coverage, or maybe they have some sort of lapsed coverage, right? But I think this section can be used to ask questions about that existing coverage and potentially talk about other coverage needs, and or other related questions that may come up. And then, I think this is a great point where we can ask what we call the golden question. And essentially that golden question is, do you have anything that acts as life insurance? Generally that's, self-insured life insurance. meaning, 401ks. Do they have any 401ks? Do they have any IRAs? Maybe they have a CD, right, sitting at a bank, or maybe they already have an annuity of some sort. But by asking that question, you're able to unlock some potential assets there that could potentially be used, for retirement, and maybe prepare them for that retirement, or maybe again, going back to maybe there's an income gap there. Knowing the assets that they have, and if they are self-insured, can go a long way in determining, what's out there and how we can help them. Here's kind of towards the end of this, I guess, financial analysis form, but here's where we kind of organize the client's full financial picture, right? So we designed this as an intention to gather all that information about their current, and anticipated sources of income, maybe during their projected retirement years. So we've included, space for both maybe themselves and their spouse. Maybe you're meeting with a couple, right? So we wanted to be able to get that full picture of the couple. And again, not everyone has access to all of their sources of income, right? I think this is just an opportunity to talk through what, the potential clients, what maybe they believe that they have access to. And at the end of the day, it's an opportunity to answer some questions about their retirement, income sources too. I think having a good picture of what their retirement may look like, or maybe what the client wants their income in retirement to look like, can go a long way in kind of helping paint the picture from our point of view here as to how we want to, help position a product to you, or maybe it's a certain illustration, right? So I think it's just a good way to just provide agents with a structured way of kind of laying out that retirement income. When you're filling out this form, I think there are numerous sales opportunities that come with it, and we've kind of broke it down a little bit by some of those questions that maybe they've answered yes or no to on this form. So maybe they answered no to long-term care, and maybe they answered no to being self-insured. Well, that could be a good opportunity for an index universal life product with living benefits, right? Well, maybe they answered no that they don't have any long-term care, but yes to being self-insured. Well, maybe that's a good long-term care annuity opportunity that we briefly discussed. There's a handful of different ones here. I won't go through all of them, but I will give you some time to kind of read them. But essentially, we want to explain the importance, right, of listening to that potential client, and maybe following up with some additional questions based on those answers. But I think that this needs analysis form is just kind of a process of asking questions, listening to better understand maybe the potential goals that they have in mind, and then recognizing the strategies that we can maybe, implement to help assist reaching those goals. I think this is a really good slide to just give you an idea as to maybe what product could fit. And again, every client's a little bit different too. And I think that's where this Ask a Specialist tab that I'm going to get into next comes into play. I will recommend what we think is best as well, but ultimately you're the one meeting with the client and may know the client a little bit better. But I think when you can utilize this Ask a Specialist, it gives you the opportunity to bounce ideas off us, and we can bounce ideas off you as well. So the Ask a Specialist, essentially we have provided you kind of a portal, right, for any questions you may have or illustrations you may want to look at. And really, when you get right down to it, it's just providing you with that expert guidance. You're able to run all your illustrations through our experts in our office. We want to be able to take that off your shoulders. And then at the end of the day, we can walk you through the illustration and really help you present or explain how to present them. We can't necessarily help you present them with a client, unfortunately, but we can help you understand the illustration, right, and maybe give you tips and tricks on what to say. I think when agents get help from our specialists, they learn by doing and essentially making real client interactions into those training moments that are needed. So when you do hit that, like I said, that ask a specialist, essentially it's going to, that might be hard to see, I'm sorry, but essentially it's just going to pop up some questions, right? So our support staff can get a better financial picture, some financial information on some potential strategies that may assist the client in achieving their goals. All this data that we collect is essentially going to be used on our end as potential strategies for certain products, or maybe we want to answer certain client concerns. Maybe it's income concerns. So we'll look at a few, guaranteed income products. So essentially, once this form is submitted, it comes into our office. One of our LARC specialists, will review the information that is input, and then we'll come up with a solution, whether, like I said, it's an FIA or a life insurance quote. The one thing that I can't stress enough is try to fill this out to the best of your ability. The more details, the better. I think, the more details that you can provide only help us in coming up with solutions. Maybe the client has, an annuity elsewhere and they have statements from that annuity. You can upload those statements on here as well to give us a better idea as to what they have. Anything like that you can do will only, like I said, will only help us in, coming up with that solution at the end of the day. And then once it's submitted, like I said, we'll shoot back some illustrations to you. And then, that's when we're an open book. You can call myself here in the office or one of the LARC specialists. And like I said, we can walk you through that illustration to kind of help you present it in a way that the client will understand.
And do you know how long it takes to hear something back?
Yeah, so the turnaround time is very quick. Generally, we say 24 hours, but honestly, it's almost same day right now. So if you were to submit something, say at 8 o'clock in the morning, there's a good chance you'd have it by that end of the day that day. So yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I know I've had a few agents try it out and actually sold their first annuity from it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it, like I said, I think some agents I've talked to a few agents with some other groups who maybe somewhat feel like they're out of the picture by doing this, and maybe they don't know enough about it, and I think from their standpoint they feel a little bad, and all I can say to that is don't feel bad at all. The whole point of this is from a training perspective, right? We want to educate you as much as we can, and I think the best way to do that is assisting you to begin with, right? Because obviously at the end of the day, we want to get you to a point where you don't need to use LARC, right? Instead of going out to this website or the resource center and submitting tickets, we want you to get to a point where maybe you're running your own illustrations, right? Or maybe you're going to the carrier direct and requesting illustrations. So that's the end goal. I think this is just a stepping stone to get there. And like I said, we'll help you along the way to get to that point. Because at the end of the day, we want you to write as much annuity premium as possible, right? And elder care does too. So we and again, like I said, don't ever hesitate or feel like there's any bad questions, because there's not. There's a lot here, right? Especially with FIAs. You can get into the weeds pretty quickly, and sometimes they're pretty complex and hard to understand. So, so out here, I just wanted to hit on a couple of other quick items on the LARC website. But here you're able to get appointed, right? You're able to do all your contracting right here through the LARC website. We try to make it as easy as possible for you with the contracting, right? We all know that contracting can be quite the headache sometimes, right? So we've tried to streamline it through our LARC website to kind of alleviate some of that pain. Through LARC, we try to look at 4 different carriers primarily, right? So we're looking at American Equity, Athene, Equitrust, and F&G on the annuity side. All of these, all of these companies, have great accumulation products and great income products as well. So we try to keep it a little bit simple in that aspect. Obviously, there's tons and tons of annuity carriers out there with tons and tons of product, and again, it can get very convoluted very quickly. And I think at the end of the day, narrowing those options down is only a benefit to you as the agent. So like I said, we try to make it as easy as possible to get appointed and get contracted. And then same with submitting an application. So you can go straight to the LARC website out here as well, and go through the steps to complete an e-app through Firelight. Whether it's an annuity application or a life application, they're both out here. But once an application is submitted, it comes through to our office, and then it comes to our new business team. You are immediately signed a case manager on our new business team. And then what they do is review it. And if there's anything that they see out there, they'll let you know to get it corrected before we send it off to the carrier. But if it comes through clean and they don't see anything, then like I said, we'll ship it off to the carrier for them to start their review process as well. And then that case manager is going to constantly track down updates from the carrier on the case as well. So they're going to kind of try to be with you every step of the way throughout the process. They will work with you on like I said, any potential requirements that maybe that the carrier comes back with. But, lean on them if you need to. You can obviously lean on our sales team too, but our new business team can kind of, help you throughout the process once that application is submitted as well. So again, we try to just make it as simple as possible for you guys. So a takeaway here, right? So to start with, we want to download that confidential needs analysis form, right? I think that is a major step here in gathering all that client information. And then on the backside, it helps us kind of determine the route to go when we're, coming up with solutions for that client. We want to make sure we're asking that golden question every time, right? So again, do you have anything that acts as life insurance? That's going to tell us at the end of the day, that's going to tell us, if there are assets there available for us to work with, and help them better prepare for that retirement. And then third here, we want you to be able to submit, like I said, all those scenarios through the LARC platform. Because at the end of the day, I think LARC gives you really everything you need to become more confident in that life and annuity conversation. Like I said, there's training tools out there. There's training videos. There's webinars. There's support. All of that's in kind of one place. And I think at the end of the day, it's really the easiest place to go to sharpen those skills and grow your business, right? At the end of the day, that's what we want to do. And I think LARC kind of helps piece together those resources for you guys. So I think so that's all I had from a LARC standpoint. I know I kind of ran through that. And again, don't hesitate, reach out to me if you have any further questions on LARC. I'm happy to help, happy to talk about it. My phone number there and my email is also there for you guys. But again, at the end of the day, we're all in this to help you, elder care and ourselves. We're all in this to help you grow your annuity premium. And if there's anything I can do to do that, don't be afraid to reach out. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zach, for taking the time to talk to our brokers about this tool that we're offering. I don't think we had any specific questions. I'll go through these, but if you do have any questions at this time, please put them in the Q&A. You never know, what other agents might need to know as well. We did have quite a few people interested in those long-term care riders, I guess you would say. We did have some people on that are writing annuities and have written annuities before, so that's really exciting. We did have one brand new one who's never sold one. So you definitely had a wide range audience this morning.
Yeah.
Stephen had asked if you had anything that would target certain groups, such as like governmental workers, or if you had any training specific to that demographic.
We don't necessarily have anything from a, I don't know if you're specifically asking about like federal workers or something in that realm. We don't have any marketing programs specifically designed for federal workers, if that's what he's asking. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
we
so.
have agents that work with government employees. In fact, a lot of times they'll use an annuities to supplement that income. But from a program perspective, we don't have anything necessarily that targets them, if that answers the question.
Yeah, no, it does. The tool isn't necessarily built for marketing. But I do highly recommend that everyone on this morning get in there. Someone's asking for more information. So again, I would recommend after this training, log in to your elder care broker portal. You can go to eldercarebroker.com, log in. If you've never logged in before, you don't have to register, just reset your password. It's really, really easy. And then right when you get logged in, I mean, the LARC button is right there, big and blue in the middle. Click the LARC link, and that's how you get to the site. And that's where you can start learning, like watching the videos. That's where you can see that financial inventory and the Ask a Specialist. So I would maybe start thinking about your existing book of business, who you might be able to practice some of these on. That way you can get familiar with the process.
Yeah, and we've even had agents just use that financial needs analysis form just as kind of on their own, right? So whether they're submitting it through LARC or not, it's still a way to capture information.
Yeah.
Obviously, we would like you to submit it through LARC because we want to help you out, right? But don't be afraid to use it in your own appointments now, just to gather that information. And then, whether you call Elder Care or Brokers International sales team and maybe just discuss that information that you picked up, that's certainly a possibility too. But at the end of the day, it's just a very good tool to have kind of as a fact finder, I think. So.
Yeah, no, it's nicely organized.
It is.
Y'all did a good job creating that.
Great tool.
And this is definitely one of my favorite things about being an integrity partner. Like all of our brokers have access to so many people to help them in this industry.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have any specific questions?
I do not. No.
All right. Well, I don't see any further questions coming on. So thank you, Zach, for taking the time to talk to our brokers. And brokers, thank you so much for taking the time to learn about this tool that we're now offering you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, guys.